The day 50 Cent was shot, I was walking through, and BMF was there too. Meech and them was there too.
Who has more cred than you, living after being shot 9 times?
I don't know what the criteria are for street credibility. Or
That's
if
it.
If there's something that creates more merit for you. I looked at that experience as something that was unfortunate that I had to, because
I forget, why the guy shot you 9 times? Was it drugs or something?
It was paid to do it.
He was paid to do it.
We all know 50 Cent got shot 9 times back in the day, but what most people don't know is that Gene Deal was one of the first people to check in on him. And here's where it gets wild. Gene was rolling with the Murder Inc. camp at the time, which meant he had inside knowledge of what was going down. And let's not forget, the man who shot 50 later ended up getting gunned down himself. But now, 50 is saying Gene did way more than just make a phone call. In fact, Gene might have played a major role in how 50 made it out alive. And when you start connecting the dots, things start to make way too much sense. So what really went down that night? Who was really pulling the strings behind 50's hit? Let's get into it. Gene Deal, former bodyguard for Diddy, just dropped some heavy claims that could change how we look at 50 Cent's 2000 shooting. For years, people speculated about who really wanted 50 gone, but Gene's version of the story suggests that big industry figures were moving behind the scenes. And the deeper you look, the more it starts to make sense.
Karma. Explain to me again why this guy was hired to shoot you 9 times.
Well, you was paid because someone, felt like that I would potentially do something to them if they kept going in the direction that they were going.
Man, you are tough.
At the time of the shooting, Gene was in Mexico with the BMF crew when he got the news that 50 had been shot 9 times. But here's where it gets real messy. 50's own manager hit up Gene, trying to get in touch with Supreme. And if y'all know the history, Supreme was one of the biggest names linked to 50's shooting. So why would 50's own camp be reaching out to Supreme right after the attack? That alone raised major red flags, suggesting that people already had an idea who was behind the hit.
He said, yo, man, because 50 just got shot, and he in ICU. I say, 50 what?
According to Gene, things were already tense, and he kept hearing Murder Inc.'s name being thrown around. He even said people from the label were moving like they knew something was coming, almost like they weren't surprised 50 got hit. And let's keep it real, Murder Inc. and 50 Cent had one of the most intense rap beefs of all time. So when Gene came forward saying he noticed these suspicious movements from their camp, it only added fuel to the fire. Now, fans started saying Irv Gotti and J. Rule might have had something to do with it, and this wasn't just random gossip. This was all happening while 50 was taking over the game and Murder Inc. was on top.
I know that Irv Gotti and them had put it out there like they was a part of it and they was gonna do it that night, the day at the meeting.
The government stopped me from making the money. When the government came in, at that time, Murder Inc. was doing like over $100 million in billing for like 2 years in a row.
Now, let's talk about Murder Inc. and their ties to Supreme. It was no secret that Irv Gotti and his camp had serious street connections, but things got real when, by 2003, federal agents raided Murder Inc.'s offices. Authorities suspected money laundering and connections to Supreme's drug empire, and the investigation painted a picture of just how intertwined the rap industry and street business really were.
It's an engine of chaos. Certain people say, you get shot here, right? He got shot in his mouth. You're like, that's inches, right? This is just me talking, everybody. It's not a thing, but
While Irv and his brother eventually beat those charges, the whole situation raised a major question. If Supreme really wanted 50 gone, was Murder Inc. just watching from the sidelines? Or were they playing a bigger role than we thought? Fast forward to today, and 50 Cent is still standing on business when it comes to this beef. When Irv Gotti recently passed away, you'd think 50 might have let things slide, but nope. He hopped on Instagram and wasted no time clowning him. No condolences, just straight jokes. That right there, it tells you everything. This beef never died, and in 50's eyes, there's still no love lost, even decades later.
50 Cent needs therapy. I don't care if you agree with the rationale, and 50's 50, he gonna stand in it. He gonna stand strong in it. He is. I look at it from both sides of the...
Now 50 Cent himself didn't stay quiet on Gene Deal's claims. In fact, he went ahead and reposted the interview on Instagram, basically co-signing everything Gene said. And that right there, that's telling. See, 50 doesn't just stamp anything. He knows the difference between gossip and real street intel. So for him to put his name behind Gene's version of events, that means there's something to it. Now, here's where things take a turn. Darryl Baum wasn't just some random shitter. He was Mike Tyson's guy. These two went way back, all the way to their younger days in Brooklyn. Over the years, that friendship became official, with Baum stepping in as Tyson's personal bodyguard. Given his heavy rep in the streets, having him in Tyson's corner made perfect sense.
You know, it seems like you've always been attracted to the guys that are still in the streets to a certain degree. Do you think that's a fair statement?
You're not attracted to them?
Well, not attracted to them, but I mean, you like having them around. You're friends with them and you maintain
Yeah, I like having them around.
50's a nice guy, but he acts like he's the murderous.
Yeah, he's really, real nice guy.
Yeah, I know, that's why he hides his heart and tries to be, motherfucker, I'll kill you.
But this is where things get real messy. People have always wondered if Tyson knew more than he let on. Now, there's no hard evidence linking him to anything, but let's be real, the speculation never really died down. And 50 Cent, he never outright said Tyson was involved, but he did acknowledge Baum's death. If you ever listen to Many Men, you already know Baum's fate was set in stone just 3 weeks after 50 got hit.
And they are now where?
Oh, the guy who actually shot me is dead. And the guy who paid him got life in jail.
Got life in jail.
Yeah.
Baum was fatally shot in Brooklyn during a substance-related dispute, and many believe it was tied to his street affiliations. The timing of his death made everything even more suspicious, especially since his name was already floating around in connection to the 50 Cent shooting. Speaking of bodyguards, looks like one of 50's own might be coming for him. And not just any bodyguard. Monsta, his right-hand man for years, is reportedly asking for 6 figures to do a sit-down and air 50 out. Now, Monsta wasn't just some random security guy. He was 50's main enforcer. Silent, but deadly. If you were looking for 50, you could bet Monsta was right there, always watching, always on point. He moved like a shadow, making sure nobody got too close. He's a very private person, so there's not a lot of info out there on him. But if you've ever watched 50's old videos, chances are you've seen him. He was always in the background, staying 10 steps ahead. There's even a clip of 50 walking through an airport, and you can see Monsta dodging the paparazzi, trying to stay out of sight. When 50 performed at clubs, Monsta was on stage watching every move. One of his most well-known moments was when things got tense between 50 and Trav on stage. If you watch closely, you can see Monsta locked in, staring Trav down, ready to handle business if things went left. But now, things have taken a turn. Word on the street is 50 fired Monsta, and he's got dirt on him. Allegedly, he's sitting on some serious secrets, including that mysterious video InfoMinds had on YouTube that supposedly exposed 50's crimes before it got taken down. And here's where it gets even messier. Whack 100 went on the Getty radio show and claimed that Monsta is trying to secure $1 million interview to tell it all.
Hey, yo, Whack, the call I got about Monsta, Whack, nigga, like, this what
called me 18 months ago, ready to do.
You see, even now, there's still people coming for 50, and this wouldn't be the first time someone wanted 50 gone. Even after surviving 9 bullets, his enemies still weren't finished. Just 8 months after Get Rich or Die Trying took over the charts, 50 narrowly escaped another hit. In September 2003, while leaving a hotel in Jersey City, gunmen opened fire on him and his entourage. This was a setup, no question, but this time, nobody got hit. 50 walked away unscathed, but the message was loud and clear. The threats weren't over. After that second attempt, he knew he couldn't move like a regular rapper anymore. The streets were still hot, and he had to adjust. More security, fewer public appearances, and bulletproof everything. He tightened his circle and made sure he was always ahead of the game. Back then, he had Frank Alexander, aka Big Frank, rolling with him. But today, his security team is made up of ex-military and ex-police personnel.
We got up there, we came in and shit. You had Navy SEALs with it, 2 in all directions. Probably about 6 of them.
When you get hurt that bad, either your fear consumes you or you become a bit insensitive. So just after...
Which one was it for you?
There was a point that I was afraid.
Afraid?
Yeah, following that.
Looking at everything that's gone down, it's no surprise that 50 Cent stays on high alert. When you've been through this much, you don't take any chances. The industry, the streets, even people once in his inner circle, they've all turned on him at some point. And from the looks of things, the only person who's truly had 50's back is Gene Deal. From the moment news broke that 50 had been shot all those years ago, Gene was already making calls, trying to find out what really happened. And even now, he's still coming forward with the truth, putting the pieces together that nobody else wants to say out loud. While others were plotting, Gene was watching and warning. And if 50 didn't already appreciate it back then, it looks like he's realizing it now. Now, what do y'all think about all this? If Gene Deal really had inside knowledge on what was happening back then, how deep does this whole situation go? With Monsta supposedly ready to air 50 out, is this about money, or is there something bigger at play? And after all these years, why does it still feel like 50's enemies ain't done yet? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Let's talk about it. And while you're at it, smash that like button, hit that subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video on your end screen. You already know we got more heat coming your way.